Welcome back to the Wolf of Queen Street podcast series. Welcome back to the audio or the video series. Welcome back to one of the short podcasts. Myself, Lawrence Lotz, joined by Kieran Hedley. And the question for Kieran today was an NFT investor. Kieran, how can NFTs be used in the business space and the sort of the future it sits between this technology and the business world?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a few ways that it can be used. I'm going to touch on two main ways. Yep. One way is that it can be used as a form of membership, right? So for example, if you're running, actually I was speaking to a business owner about 2 days ago, and he was asking me around how you could use it for his necktie business. Yep. And essentially what I was saying is, rather than using, which people can do this, is using it as an NFT. So every time you buy the necktie, you actually buy the necktie NFT, but then you get the necktie as as the physical asset as well. So you've got the digital good and the physical good, which is great. But the problem is yes, you can go and sell the digital necktie, but probably not for much, because there's so many NFTs of that necktie out there. However, if you instead made 1,000 NFTs for that business, right? And if you bought the NFT, you instantly get maybe 5 free neckties of your choice. You can choose any ones, and you get free access to the once a year or twice a year event that they run on, maybe on Zoom as a Zoom party, or even a physical event that they might run with that NFT, and that's tied into the smart contract, which I'll touch on. And then also as well, you get exclusive benefits such as discounts, such as maybe once a monthly group sessions and calls, and you can just talk about neckties or cool things or new styles or whatever that is, right? So people get all this access. Now, what this is going to do is it's going to drive up the NFT project's value as well. So, and also because within the smart contract, you're going to tie in that you get maybe 5 to 10% royalties every time that's traded. You're going to make profits off that NFT being traded by people as well, because of the value that's going up. And then as well, your customers are going to likely become more loyal because they own the physical, the NFT, the non-fungible good or token of your business as well, which is going to lead to a factor that is more, in a way, valuable, perceived valuable as a general membership card, because it's actually something that is an investable asset as well. So that's sort of one way. And then the second way is that we can look at the smart contract side of things, where smart contracts, just really briefly, are just like you'd sort of sign a normal contract, which usually has a couple of different inputs, or an input and output. And then you've got the digital contracts, which are things like what's a crowdfund, right? Where you say, put in a bunch of money, and people are, you put out a product, and people buy the product, and once it reaches a certain amount of purchases, then the digital contract says, yep, this is success. The money goes through to the business owner, and the business owners send out the goods, right? Now, that's a digital contract because there's the middle person, which is a third party that's in play. Now, I've got to trust crowdfund that they're going to give me the money, and crowdfunds then got to as well trust me that I've got to send the goods. So there's a trust factor there. However, with smart contracts, it's both immutable and distributed. Okay, immutable meaning it cannot be changed once you created it, like a digital contract can be intervened maybe. And also as well, it's distributed, meaning there's no third party in play. Essentially what this means is that I don't need to then trust the third party person to ensure that I get the money, right? And it's distributed because it's on the blockchain, anyone can see it. So if someone pulls something rather, and then everyone can see it, and then that person that's sort of pulled something will be seen by multiple people for it, and they will be then less trusted within the space, and of course it's going to be problematic for the name. So it's going to be a lot safer for people to make promises, to sign contracts, and also as well, there's going to be various technologies tied into smart contracts, in the sense that say I might be able to take away transportation fees and boxing fees and all that sort of thing, because when people buy a good on my website, automatically that ties into that sends the address to the drone that's going to pick up my package and fly it out to the person that just purchased it, because they put in their address and all the rest, and it lands at the door and then comes back. And then also as well, because once that has been fulfilled and it's landed on their property, and it's dropped the good on their property in front of their doorstep, instantly as well, that indicates the smart contract, okay, cool, now we can make you pay for shipping, because now you've received the good, now you pay for shipping, right? So it's essentially helping not just the business owner, but also the customer, and then the overall factor of trust that's coming into play because of the distributed factor of smart contracts. So these are a couple of ways.
Yeah, totally. To anyone that's saying on the first point, talking about the loyalty, the customers, and saying, that's not going to work. 20 years ago or 30 years ago, when my parents were growing up, the biggest thing was getting like the platinum Visa and the platinum MasterCard and getting your AirPoints cards and your loyalty cards. That was the previous generation, right? Building up your loyalty cards up from bronze, silver to platinum to metal that you could drop and all that stuff. This fundamentally is the exact same thing, but in a digital world that you carry in your cell phone, in your digital wallet. So just think about it in that sense, and it'll make totally sense, because we understood the whole value of going up in those loyalty cards. This is just a digital version of it, and depends on the shop that's selling it. It gives you all those benefits that comes from that. And smart contracts, totally love them. One of the biggest things, Kieran, about smart contracts, anyone is wanting to know with business, smart contracts can a lot of times be instant. So I buy a property across blockchain, and we use smart contracts on that. Is I purchase, I get a contract within 5 minutes, I sign it, it goes back in 5 minutes, and I own that property in 10 minutes, theoretically within 10 minutes. It takes a couple of minutes, and there's no middleman. There's all that stuff's out of the way. So, and it's a legal contract that is binding for the rest of time. There's no ways they can go back on that. So those two things is definitely cool to see what, the NFT moving into that space for business.
Yeah, definitely. And the final thing I'll say, just on the value point that you made, which is so beautiful, right? At one point, aluminium was valued more than gold, right? And then all of a sudden they found a way to mine aluminium in a much easier way, which decreased the value because it increased the supply of it. And then all of a sudden over time, right, gold got perceived as more valuable, right? And like, because at one point it was just a rock. People didn't even think much of it. Then all of a sudden it became valuable. Now, you go into a ring store and you spend, 10 grand on its tiny little bit of gold. But the same thing with the NFTs, right? So that's essentially what's happening, is that transfer.
Yep. Awesome. And thanks so much. And Kieran, to anyone that has any questions around NFT, the technology, how it all works, please reach out to Kieran. His details will be in the description. He runs a NFT podcast as well, and is sort of the person to go to in the New Zealand space around this technology. And hope you took a bit of insight from the episode, and hope, as always, see you again tomorrow or later.